Scones for me are the perfect tea time snack. While they are light and airy within, they have that perfect crunch, so suitable to enjoy with tea. I have the fondest memory of my time in London during my shifts, most often my break shifts, where we used to go out and enjoy some tea with different styles of scones. Most people do not really want to take on creating a scone because they think it is tough. However, here's one easy to create apricot and date scone. It happens in half an hour flat and ready to be enjoyed for tea. Let's get to cooking it. To start off, we're just going to preheat our oven to 190 degrees Celsius while we get to creating the perfect scone. I've just taken some parchment paper and I'm going to line my baking tray and get it ready so that we get to creating the perfect scones. Simple in a large pot and ready to create. My obsession for tidiness comes about with having perfect corners out here, to excuse me. With the baking tray ready, it's time now to get to creating the scones. So here I've got about 250 grams of self-rising flour. Now, while most people get self-rising flour, I'm not a great fan of it because you need to use it fast because the baking powder is active in it. I prefer using refined flour with a ratio creating the perfect self-rising flour. So for every 75 grams of refined flour, you use 1 level teaspoon of baking powder and create the perfect self-rising flour. So 250 grams of this batch of self-rising flour going in. To that, I'm going to add 60 grams of wheat bran or wheat husk as it's known as. That goes in as well, and I'm just going to use my hands because the scones actually require that. Mix this, allow it to get that perfect mix together, not too much. To that, I'm going to add 60 grams of frozen butter. So I want the butter to be firm and we're just going to allow it to form the perfect, beautiful, fresh breadcrumbs of a consistency in this entire mix. So while I go to doing that, why don't you come and have a look about it? Mix the butter, the frozen butter, along with the flour and the bran, creating the perfect, beautiful, crumbly texture. You can just go ahead and do this for the next 5 minutes till you get that perfect crumb in it. You can see how it's resembling that perfect fresh breadcrumbs. I'm just going to keep at it for another minute to a minute and a half. I like playing with my food, so this is one of those key pleasures that I get in creating this, where you put your hand in and you feel the food, and more importantly, it's so overwhelming when you're cooking it for family and all your love has gone pouring right in. Crumble it away to form the perfect fresh breadcrumb look. And now, enough of playing, it's time to add in our apricots and dates. With this perfect sandy texture that you've obtained, and you can feel the butter and the flour and the bran actually creating that perfect moist sand consistency. It's time now to add in some dates. So 90 grams of chopped dates are going to go right in. Chop it really fine so that they elevate and rise in the beautiful scones. So I'm just going to crumble this and put it in. Next goes in about 90 grams of apricots, finely chopped. I'm using the Turkish apricots because these do not need to be softened or moistened. They have that beautiful texture coming through. Just now, mix all this up again. So the trick over here is to ensure everything is mixed really well and no lumps of any form are created in this entire coarse texture. While I've played a lot over here by ensuring that the dates, the apricots, the bran and the flour along with the butter has really crumbled and smoothened out and there's not too much of large pits in this. Now comes the tricky part, because a scone never needs to have a dough that is overworked. So while this is all mixed, and while you take some extra time out here to ensure everything is mixed really well, it's just about ensuring everything comes together in the stickiest possible dough so that it rises really well. So with this nicely mixed, in goes 250 ml of cold milk. So here I have 250 ml of cold milk, and I'm just going to put that in, and minimal movement with your hand to allow the dough to just come together. Sticky in nature, yet creates the perfect scones. Just allow the dough to come together. Not too much of mixing, but it's quite a sticky dough, but the more you mix it, the more it will not rise. So just ensure that you lightly, not more than 10 mixes, and your dough should be ready. All this needs now to come on a lightly floured surface. You're just going to flatten it down with minimum handling. Just slightly flatten it down. You can't even roll this dough out. All you need to do is just flatten it out with your hand and shape it with a 5 centimeter round shaper. A 5 centimeter ring mold to cut it, and we're just going to line it on my baking tray. So leave a gap about 2 centimeters on each side and go right at it. Any additional dough, just pack it back together lightly. Dust the work surface and fold it out back again with your fingers. So 1 centimeter thickness. This dough is so beautiful that why should we ever waste any of this? So just put it back and go right ahead at cutting another set of 5 centimeter round disc. I like my scones to have the most coarsest of textures and so easy to create, right? So you roll this out, put it on a lined baking sheet, and it goes straight into our oven, which was already preheated. I've managed to get about 30 scones from the batch that we created. They go into a preheated oven at 190 degrees Celsius for exactly 20 minutes. And in the meantime, we're just going to go right ahead and create some fabulous tea. These scones have got the perfect golden brown and are just about ready to come out straight from the oven. While scones technically are had warm, you can also have them at room temperature or cold. Just going to now create a circus effect with balancing things out, and we are ready. Scones always require the fanciest of crockery, and that's where my beautiful Charlie comes handy. So English and so true to what these beautiful scones entail. While scones are always had with either some marmalade or some beautiful coulis, I just enjoy having them all by itself with great cups of tea. Just going to attractively put them, and my weekend tea time wonder is ready for the family to enjoy. Such an easy recipe and so beautiful in the making. We allow these to either come down to room temperature and enjoy, or just have it piping hot out of the oven. I hope you enjoyed creating these beautiful scones with me. Apricot and date bringing about their sweetness in the most subtle of fashion. Any leftover scones should be brought down to room temperature, put in an airtight container and stored in your refrigerator. It holds well for a week, but in our house, we nibble on it all through the day or night. Don't forget to share loads of love by hitting on the like button, and like I always say, don't forget to subscribe.